Hello, everybody. This is going to be a quick demo on how to get going on the image transforms extension. And so let's just dig into it. And so here we are on the description page, and you can see that we've got a bunch of different transformations we're going to do upon some images. And so here we have rather blown up, so you can see the individual colors of each cell in this 2D array of colors you're going to be passed in. And you're going to read from this source 2D array, and you're going to produce this resulting return destination array. The first one you have to do is copy. So that just copies each of the pixels or colors from the individual cells into the destination array. And you can see this blown up version that is 5 by 7. These images are much higher resolution, but you can imagine at the very smallest level, there's a color at each one of those cells. Some of the more interesting ones you're going to build, more interesting than copy anyways, is going to be flip horizontal. So for these, if you can look at this, the left side has been flipped over to the right, and the right side has been flipped over to the left. You can see "You Belong Here" and Washington and the Bears flipped which way it's saying, but it's easier to see in the text. Flip vertical, sort of like the top becomes the bottom and the bottom becomes the top. You can see everybody's upside down. Mirror left onto right is going to take, this leftmost and copy it over here on the rightmost. Now it's going to do that into the destination. It's not going to change the source at all, but you can see it's kind of like mirrored left onto right. It's sort of easier to see in this bear where it's sort of like mirrored both ways, and it's washi saw, I guess. And the last one is going to be to rotate it right. This one may be the most challenging of them all, but you can see we sort of rotated the image 90 degrees. So like now you start off with this 5 rows by 7 columns, and you're going to produce something that's 7 rows by 5 columns, and like all the pixels are going to be rotated 90 degrees. So let's dig into the code over here in Eclipse. So you should have cloned your repo. And if you open it up and look in the source folder, you'll see a package for each of the extensions. In image transforms, we can see where we're starting here. And here's the copy method we're going to have to write. We're going to learn more about methods in an upcoming section. And in some ways, this extension is currently an extension batch 1, and that is a mistake. It's there for a couple of reasons. One, there's not enough extensions to get you a chance to reasonably get 20 points or your full credit for this. The other thing is that this should be fun, and the grand vast majority of what you're writing should be, dealing with 2D arrays. So you should be well prepared for that. There's just a little bit to deal with the functions, and so we're going to try to get you over that hump right now. But you can see there's copy. You're going to write flip horizontal, flip vertical, mirror left onto right, and rotate right. And each one of them has sort of a starter bit for you. Has you setting up this destination, which you're going to copy the source into the destination and return it. So it's trying to provide some of the syntax there. If you need help with this, certainly lean on I or any of the TAs for help in regards to this. So let's talk about copy first. Passed in the source, and we're going to call get row count. This is a lot like when we call math.random, a lot of you have done. We're going to pass in source, and we've written this one for you. All it does is look at this pixel matrix that gets passed in, this 2D array of colors. And when you're talking about the rows, that's the length of the outer dimension, or the outer part of this matrix of colors. And then we call get column count, and that is going to look at this matrix. The rows are the primary outside dimension, and then the inner one is going to be the columns. Now we're going to promise that it's always going to be a rectangle, right? So as long as there's at least one row, we can look at the row 0's length. Otherwise, it returns 0. Trust me, we're never going to pass you a 0 by 0 source 2D array, but we've written these for you. You get row and column back, and we want you, the first thing we need to do is replace this null with this 2D array. So how we make arrays or 2D arrays in Java is, as you know, to say new. We're going to make a new array of this type, and it's going to be 2 dimensions, and we're going to fill in row count and column count. And so if I just really quickly run the test suite now, run as JUnit test, you can see it's going to put our image transforms through the paces. They're all going to fail, right? Because I haven't actually copied anything. All these are going to fail, where you can see like rotate left onto right. Everybody's saying like, I'm asserting that it's not null. Guess what? It's null because like we haven't changed this on any of these guys. For the copy one, you can see it's past the not null part, but it's like, oh, I made a source array that had black at 0, 0 and white at 1, 1. This is just testing a 1 by 2. A lot of times, or in this particular extension, we have, very simple tests, and the comprehensive one is going through obviously all the images that we have for you and testing them a little bit more thoroughly. This is just say, let's see if it works at all. So they're sending us what black and white, and they're expecting that everything's black and white on the other side. And by the way, if you look at where it's failing, it's like, oh, that thing is not black. And because it's still null, because that's what the default value is for all these things. So what I could do, just the simplest possible way to pass this one test, which is of course not what you're going to do, but I'm just going to do this right now as a exercise, is I'm going to just pass this one test. Now, it's not a good idea to just march through and pass this test, because this is not really getting us closer to passing the comprehensive test, right? But let's see how this works. So right now, I am now passing the preliminary test. I am then failing on every other image, because what do you know? Every other image is not just black in 0 and white in 1, right? So hopefully this will get you going. I'm going to give you one last little thing just to sort of say, like, what we want to be doing, of course, is for copy is reading from source, right? Now, again, I can't state strongly enough, you're not going to run through and just write code like this. You're going to have some for loops that go through all the source things and pass them off to the destination. So let me do this where I run that, and we can see that that also is passing this guy. To pass the full copy, you're going to build the for loop. You're going to march through each one of these in turn. When you get to a point where the test suite is not enough to help you debug it, we have another utility for you, the debug app, which I will show off in another video in a second, which can help you to sort of hopefully visualize what's going wrong, perhaps in your algorithm. And with that, good luck on this assignment. Hopefully it will go well. If not, reach out to us. We're here to help.